Namaste and welcome to Yoga Story Daily Dose of Yoga. We are continuing on with our hip series, talking today about the longest muscle in our body, the sartorius. This is a muscle that helps to flex the hip. It helps to laterally rotate the hip, so rotating the hip outward. It also helps to adduct, so bringing the thighs toward each other or adducting the hip. It helps to flex the knee, so it is a muscle that goes from the hip all the way over the knee joint, so helping to flex the knee, as well as to medially rotate a flexed knee. So that would be in our figure 4 balance, or of course, one of the most well-known yoga poses for that position would be our supine, or rather our half pigeon pose. So that sartorius muscle is assisting in allowing this figure 4 position of our knee. So the sartorius runs from our hip all the way down through to our tibia, and it attaches there to a tendon on the tibia. So moving from the hip to the knee. So because we're crossing the hip, where it is assisting with hip flexion, and because we're crossing the knee, it is also assisting here with knee flexion. So I just showed you a couple of poses where the sartorius muscle helps assist with the medial rotation of a flexed knee. But as I said, it also helps to flex the hip and to laterally rotate the hip. So lateral rotation would be in our tree pose, for example. So we have that outward rotation, that lateral rotation, and also flexing the hip. So bringing that leg up to flex the hip, and also with hip adduction. So for example, in our Shiva squat, that is a pose that I don't often teach in class, but it's a good squat pose, and it's where we cross here. So here we have this hip adduction. We're working the standing leg. We're trying to keep that inner rotation of the inner thigh, and the sartorius also helps with that. And then here we're adducting, so we're bringing the knee behind the knee, bringing the inner thigh or that hip toward the center of the body. And also we have the sartorius working here with that hip flexion and with that knee flexion. So that is a really dynamic pose where that long muscle of our body is working. We will continue on with our hip series tomorrow, talking about the lateral rotators of the hip. Thank you today so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on Yoga Story Daily Dose of Yoga. Peace.